and the local will be following every single every so every way, get the feeling, every clue, every good stuff, every victory.
Welcome inside the locker room, right here on the station that loves music and loves life. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You know that every Monday, Wednesday, as well as Friday, 8:15, what we do is settle and we make sure that we enjoy the very best of local and international stories on the sports scene. And we get the in-depth analysis of all of those stories with the one who makes sure that she takes her time to soak in everything and come digest, of course, give you every other thing with your comments and your thoughts in between. So welcome again. My name is Oluwaseun. You can join us on WhatsApp and you can join us on YouTube. For a Feel Good Friday, please welcome the queen of the locker room, the one and the only Tega Supreme.
Good morning, show. I think you sound so excited this morning. You're happy that the week is over. You sound very excited.
I wanted to say something before I hummed and then I had to divert because I am happy. Oh, I am
Yeah,
happy.
she's so excited that the week is over. All right. But for some of us, this is the beginning of the week, yes, because this is when all the league matches start. All right. If you're an F1 fan, F1 is this weekend. If you are a tennis fan, the US Open continues this weekend. All right. All of that inside the locker room today. But first of all, we have to announce. So today is the Queen's weekend. Remember when Chinny came to the studio?
Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
actually.
So yes, so today is the start of the Queen's weekend. So if you can, go to her social media pages, follow up, and then you'll find out how to be a part of the Queen's weekend. All right, that's the first thing that's happening this weekend. But also this weekend, a big one. Arsenal, Liverpool. All right, we'll be talking about that inside the locker room today. We'll also talk about some crazy transfer news. Um, when people say you're the leader of tomorrow, then tomorrow comes and they're about to transfer the leader out. We'll talk about we'll talk about the leader of now Jackpa. That's what it is. The leaders of tomorrow are now Jackpa. All right. So we'll talk about that inside the locker room today. So all of that and more coming up, and also some bad behavior on the tennis court at the US Open. All of that and more in the locker room. Before we do any talking, Oluwaseun, tell us, how can we be a part of the locker room today?
Yes, please. First, you can go to YouTube where Elke Aderoba started the hashtag Where is Ayo? YouTube is at Smooth981 FM Lagos. At Smooth981 FM Lagos. Drop your comments in the chat box. You can also come to WhatsApp 0911 999 0981. Again, 0911 999 0981. We're ready to get it on and we are starting with Norris ready to go for tricky part of season. And that is Lando Norris saying that he's ready to go right now for what he expects to be a long, tricky, challenging second part of the season as Formula One
Yes,
resumes.
the first part, so we're going Dutch now. That's what's happening this weekend, the Dutch Grand Prix. So the first part of the season was interesting in the sense that he was the one that we're expecting to see win. And next thing we know, it was Oscar Piastri that was like, my car is also fast though. We drive the same car, right? And so Oscar Piastri was the one that took off like a house on fire and went ahead. But Lando Norris, after the brief break, started coming back in and shaving off points and stealing points. A few good decisions here, a few few poor decisions here by Oscar Piastri, and Lando Norris is back in it. So yes, he's right. This is a tricky one because anything can happen. The fact that you have a good Saturday in qualifying doesn't guarantee that you have a good Sunday in racing, because like Lando Norris knows, it's not just about the pace of the car now. Because I remember when he was ignorant, saying, Lewis Hamilton only used to win because he had the fastest car, as if Lewis Hamilton didn't have teammates. Now you have the fastest car. Oh, yeah, win now. Let's see. Enter and win. So he's learning that it's not just having the fastest car. A fast car is great. The right strategy is even better. And so he's learning that this is going to be very tricky, especially as Oscar Piastri is rested. He's also reviewed the season, seen where he's made his mistakes. So it's going to be a tough one. And of course, you have the outliers who don't necessarily, who are not necessarily going to win the championship because they don't have a fast car. But what they do have is the ability to make your weekend a bad one. So the yes, the Red Bulls, the Ferraris, they can just come in there and steal one or two positions from you, and that drops your points in the standings. So it's going to be a tough one this weekend. Still, McLaren are the car to beat, but the question for Lando Norris is, can I beat my teammates consistently? And that's what makes it tricky.
Good question. I'm sure I'm not the only one who's been singing Fast Car by Tracy Chapman in my head, because that's what I was singing the entire time. All right, moving on. Decorum out of the window as American player Taylor Townsend said former French Open champion Elena Ostapenko told her that she had no class and no education in a heated US Open row. That's terrible.
All right, so let's we're going to talk about all the big names that are falling, but since they are not really falling like flies, they're falling, but they're not really falling as quickly as I expected them to. Let's focus on all the other things that have happened. So Yelena Ostapenko met Taylor Townsend in a tie that was supposed to be interesting. Taylor Townsend won the match, but during the match, a lot of things happened, and then it led to an after match squabble. All right. So basically, Taylor Townsend comes out for warm up, and as she comes out for the warm up, usually you warm up first from the baseline. Then after you warm up from the baseline, then both of you move towards the net to warm up at the net. They do it. It is so there are so many unwritten rules in tennis, and tennis is I want to say it's a classy sport. So even if it's not a law, you just see people do it automatically. You realize that they know as players, they show each other that kind of respect. Tennis is the one sport that, people would have mad rivalry on court, and then after the match, you just come and be hugging each other and be celebrating each other. You're like, how are you fighting someone 1 minute and the next minute you're supportive of the person? But that's how tennis, that's the kind of class that tennis breeds. So everybody knows the routine. Even the umpires know the routine. Because sometimes if you miss the routine, the umpire will be like, no, here's the ball, do what you're supposed to do. That's how it is. But Taylor Townsend comes out and she immediately goes to the net. She doesn't do any baseline practice. Now, on a normal day, this will not be an issue, except that Yelena Ostapenko is a baseline player. So she needs the baseline warm-up. That was the first thing. The second thing was, there's this thing called the net court. So if you hit the ball and it grazes the net and then goes over to the other side and it helps you in the point, you're supposed to apologize to the other person at the other side of the net. Now, a lot of people have asked, why do you apologize when it's not your fault, when there's luck? It's just the way tennis courtesy is. Every player knows. Every fan, if you start watching tomorrow, you'll question it, but it is something they do. So it happened in the match, and Taylor Townsend won the point, and she didn't even say that. She didn't even apologize.
Oh, wow.
So now, those are two true things that Taylor Townsend did wrong. However, Yelena Ostapenko is triggered by everything. Daniel Medvedev 2.0. Sorry, Daniel Medvedev before Daniel Medvedev was Daniel Medvedev. So she gets triggered by everything, and she escalates issues. So yes, those are bad things. And I've heard players talk about it in court that, this person was disrespectful after the match during press conference. But you never really see them. They take note of it that this person is quite disrespectful and they move on. But Yelena Ostapenko, she must address the matter. Her own is Gasbos immediately. No, she doesn't. Sometimes you just be the bigger person and rise above. Not Yelena Ostapenko will never be the bigger person. And so that's where the issue came in. After the match, she now goes to Taylor Townsend to tell Taylor Townsend that what you did, you should have apologized. And Taylor Townsend said, please, it's because you lost. Of course, Taylor Townsend didn't handle herself well. I don't care what all the black people are saying on Twitter. I like that she gave it to her hot. She didn't handle it well either. But the truth of the matter is Ostapenko was unnecessarily triggered and she overreacted. And so she told her, oh yeah, you don't have class and you don't have education. Now, that people are saying that's racism. It is not, because I don't like when people wake up in the morning and try to be falling victims every time. The fact that you are black and you're in America and that has been used as discrimination, as racist in your experience, doesn't mean that that's how the rest of the world thinks. So when she was saying you don't have class or you're not educated, she was saying you don't have class because you didn't do the things that tennis people do, number one. And then when she told Taylor Townsend said, I don't have to do that. That's a lie. You have to. It's not written in the laws, but it's an unwritten rule. I don't know how else to say it. So when she was saying you're educated, she was saying you're educated about the rules of the tennis game. That's how Americans took it up and started saying that Yelena Ostapenko is racist. She's not remotely racist. Your experience doesn't define somebody else's experience. So stop projecting. She's not remotely racist. What she said was at best an insult, but it wasn't racist. And so this thing has gone on a completely different trajectory and has just painted Yelena Ostapenko in even much worse light. But hey, it is what it is. I think Taylor Townsend should have handled herself better. I don't care what people are saying that, oh, she was classy. She wasn't. She was ratchet. In fact, she continued being ratchet after the match. She went for her massage. She was like, bring on the fire, bring on the smoke. What kind of dirty ghetto talk is that? Behave yourself. You've won the match. That's all you need to do. I let my racket do the talking. We've heard you. But to carry on after the match, you will see her in her next match when she was playing with the doubles. She still did something that alluded to it. What kind of unnecessary behavior is that? When they go low, we go lower. That's not classy. I mean, Yelena Ostapenko has her issues, but again, Taylor Townsend didn't cover herself with glory, and I hate the fact that people are saying, "Oh, she behaved like a queen." She didn't. Royalty does not behave like that. Okay, so both of them were wrong, and I hope they don't escalate this thing to look like a racism issue because it was not remotely racist. It was just a tennis squabble. But yeah, that's the drama that's been happening in tennis recently.
Well, that is sport analysis, the other side of etiquette training. I mean, if you're not listening to a story told by Tega, what are you listening to?
That's tennis. Tennis is sport with etiquette. It's not like other sports. It's just very different, very classy. So you don't bring certain behaviors in it. But before we go on break, let me just use this to round up the Daniel Medvedev incident. Remember when he threw the tantrum for several minutes? Well, the US Open has fined him 38% of his earnings. So I think because of where he was knocked out, where he crashed out of the tournament, he was supposed to win about $100,000. US Open is taking 38% of that for the abuse of the for the unsportsmanlike behavior, number one, and number two, for abusing his racket. Because after the match, he broke his racket mercilessly before he started crying. So there's a fine for that. That's why I was telling you that tennis is a classy sport. It's your racket, but you cannot break it. It's your racket, but they will fine you for abusing the racket. It's that simple. So even when you abuse yourself, like there was one time Rublev missed a point and he first used the racket to hit himself till he bruised his knee. They fined him. It's your body, but you'll be fined. So tennis is like that. They have all these unwritten rules outside the main rules that you have to keep. So yeah, Medvedev has been fined.
$42,500 just for bad behavior. That's people, get your self-control together, especially if you want to play tennis. We'll go on a breather now, and when we come back, we'll be getting to the story of well, what people have been talking about since. Amorim says something has to change. You're listening to The Locker Room on Smooth 90.1.
Tuned everyone.
Yes, so that's tennis for you. You will learn class by force.
That is so cool.
What can you do in
I'm
just
telling
2
you, it's just a very different sport, which is why
Russia?
when I see other people talk about it, oh, why do you have to apologize for a net court? It's just part of the
You can
courtesies that they
alright with
they
leeway
train
aside.
you with in tennis.
Use
You
no
don't you
just
don't
to
abuse the ball, you don't abuse the racket. Everything will come with a fine. It's a completely different sport.
Insurance
Yeah.
since 1917.
Reminds me of those times that Serena also got her own shortening of the stick.
Yes. They will look. You can throw a tantrum in football. People say, "Oh, you're badly behaved." Except, of course, there are certain things that they will fine you for in football. You know, spitting at people, pulling people's hair, biting people. I mean, those are things you do on people. If you do anyhow in tennis, what are you do it to yourself? You do it to your equipment. You do it to your racket. They will fine you. They'll be like, "Why didn't
Yep.
you write about?"
Yep.
So football will fine you, or other sports will fine you for doing it against somebody else. Tennis will fine you for even thinking it at all. Fine it is bad. What's wrong with you? Behave yourself.
.simsng.com. Terms and
Ah, the weekend is here. Don't
Oh my
worry.
God, he won it! I'm watching the Temple match. So last night I had to sleep off. I was tired. So I've seen the end of it now.
get dressed.
The one,
Oh, wow.
the match points he won. Yeah, that was beautiful.
And also buy your motor
How,
insurance with leeway
okay.
assurance.
I was going to ask, but then I remember it's Tega. I was about
What?
to say, how many hours of sleep do you get again?
So far I've had only 3. And now I have to go for that Queen of the Continent thing.
No, at first, when you said the Queen's weekend, I thought, is the Queen back from the dead?
No, it's Chine. Chine is dragging all of us outside today. She's like, come outside by force. Leave your house.
Outside.
So yeah, I'm leaving my house because of Chine.
Striker Ekitiki.
Ekitike. Ekitike.
You don't want to know what I had read in my head initially.
You wanted to say Ekaite or Ekiti State? One of the two. It cannot be hard because Nigerians have already bastardized the poor boy's name.
It's worse, considering that you went to Ekiti the other time. So I had
Exactly.
Ekiti.
Yeah, so some people just call him Ekiti. I've never seen it. In one of my WhatsApp group, I saw someone once they just say Ekiti, everybody knows who they're talking about. I'm just like, what are you doing to this boy's name?
All right, we're back. If you want more of the fun, you need to go to the behind the scenes, and that will be on YouTube at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. At Smooth 981 FM Lagos. And you're welcome to send your messages to us on WhatsApp at 0911 999 0981. Again, 0911 911 0981. We are inside the locker room with the queen of the locker room, giving us all the details, and all the gist. Now, let's talk about the one you have been waiting for. I feel so bad for Ayo when he comes back because he will need hot and cold presses on his body with what has been prepared for him. But
I'm
anyway,
telling you.
a furious Manchester United manager, Ruben Amorim, said something has to change within the team after the pressure mounted on him following a humiliating League Cup loss to Grimsby.
I would say this. He's right. Something has to change, but everybody and their pet knows that. The thing is, they put him in charge to make the changes, and the changes he's making is not the changes they want to see. All right. So the first thing he changed when it came to the Carabao Cup was to put in Andre Nana, who had missed the first 2 matches in the Premier League for Manchester United. So he changed goalkeepers. He said, you know what, let me try Onana since Bayenda has been doing CSR with our goalposts and giving a few goals. Let's try Onana Onana was like, you thought that Bayanda was generous. Let me show you what generosity is.
You don't know what's going on.
You don't know what's going, you don't know. And so Onana in goal, I can't believe it, gave away two of the cheapest goals. So the two goals that Manchester United considered against Grimsby, you can argue about the position of the defense, what they were doing, but the bottom line is the ball came to Onana and he fluffed his lines. The first goal, I didn't think that ball should have gone in. It should have been, at worst, a save. Guess what? It got into the back of the net through Onana's butterfingers. And then the second one was a set piece that I thought he had control over because he had both hands on it. But instead, he hit it back onto somebody and the ball fell behind him and they put in the back of the net. So the two goals were his fault. He can argue from now till tomorrow that his defense didn't cover him in glory. He didn't cover himself in glory. So that was the first thing. And then you have to consider that, Manchester United is in the Premier League and Grimsby are in the 4th division. So there are two divisions in between where Manchester United are and where Grimsby Town is. And there is no reason Manchester United should ideally be struggling with Grimsby to get back in. But somehow they fought their way back in, got back parity 2-2, and almost got the winner but didn't. And then they went to a penalty shootout and then lost in the penalty shootout. And unfortunately, the player that missed his penalty to hand the spot to Grimsby was the player that actually started the redemption of the comeback for Manchester United. So Mbumo was hero and villain in the match. So tough one for Manchester United. But yes, something needs to change. However, I think, unfortunately, at this point in time, one of the things that needs to change is Ruben Amorim as coach. Because even his utterances is not ambitious enough for the team. He says things like, we're not ready for Europe, for a team that played in the Europa. Then he says things like, my players spoke loudly today, almost as if to confess that his players were trying to sabotage him. Then if you think about all the things that are going on behind the scene, Kobe Mainoo is now requesting for a transfer out, but he wants a loan. Almost as if he knows that they're going to fire Ruben Amorim. So if Ruben Amorim goes, he can come back. He wants to go on loan. He doesn't want to be sold. And then Garnacho is on his way to Chelsea, if you're believing the news in the story. So at the end of the stories in the news, sorry. So at the end of the day, it's a really tough task. But ultimately, I think that one of the changes that Manchester United should have made at the start or at the end of last season, that Ruben Amorim is looking for, was to actually change him. So here we are. This weekend they face Burnley, and people are already saying that they are going to lose to Burnley. If it can lose to Grimsby Town in 4th division, how can you win against Burnley? But football is not mathematics. You can't add 2 plus 2 to make 4 in football sometimes. So I think that Manchester United still have the opportunity to beat Burnley. But, morale is down from the stands and from the players on the pitch. I don't know how they can conjure up that win.
Again, the sacking of Amorim, it's not a matter of if, but when. Okay.
Yep, like I was saying, who will go first? Graham Potter of West Ham or Ruben Amorim? Let's take that poll now.
I will start by saying Ruben. I think, but let's know your thoughts.
Let's know your thoughts, all right?
0911-999-0981. Again, 0911-999-0981. YouTube is at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. The quick poll is, who will go first? Graham Potter, Ruben Amorim? Let's have your thought. And moving on to the next story. Liverpool and Manchester City face Real Madrid in Champions League. PSG get off draw.
Wow. Well, I can't say that anybody gets tough draw. The draws are all tough because of the format that they're using now, the league format that they started last season. And at some point, the league format flattered to deceive. It looked like we're going to get some exciting names dropping out of the league. But at the end of the day, the big boys still made it through. the cream still rose to the top. However, we enjoyed the fixtures in the group stage because there were more oppositions, more matches, more competitions, and more banter. So that's what we want to see sometimes, as opposed to if you're drawn in a group with some lower ranked teams, the results would be very predictable. So I like the league format now.
You
Format
mean
now. Sorry, I like the league format now, but what it is the draws make it exciting. So yes, Liverpool, Manchester City, they are going to play Real Madrid. So we're going to see some exciting matches. Again, I think the league format for me is just to enjoy the group stage because I still think that the big boys will come out tops from the
okay.
league.
I'm
But
already
we'll enjoy each fixture is mouth watering. When you think about Barcelona going to Newcastle, that'll be interesting, because there's some things that people are prepared for. It's what I always say. Sometimes Barcelona is more prepared for Real Madrid than they are for Levante. Because Levante is not a team you face every time, but Real Madrid are kind of familiar opponents. So when you see all these out of place fixtures, they sometimes set up for an interesting match. So the Champions League has drawn have been made. Let's see how the matches go for now.
Moving on to Liverpool and Arsenal, they have combined to spend nearly £550 million in a transfer arms race. Yet, the future of Newcastle forward Alexander Isak still hangs over Sunday's showdown between the Premier League title rivals.
Arsenal take on Liverpool on Arsenal take on Liverpool on Sunday. But Liverpool they still have one eye out for Isak. And it makes it more interesting when one of Newcastle's players that they're eyeing as replacement, Strand Larson, has now told this club that he's hold on. Has now told his club that Strand Larson has told his club that he's ready to move. And so when you start seeing all the chess puzzles pieces begin to move like that, you know that it's almost time for Newcastle to make up their minds. I think Newcastle have conceded that they are going to have to let Isak go. This is a lose-lose situation for everybody. And if they're going to let him go, they might as well get the money they will get. And so they decided to talk to other players. I think they're going to have to let him go, but they don't want to do it in such a way that the player looks like he was right. Because that's it. Yeah, because, Liverpool came with 120 million. Why didn't you just take it at the time? What was the fuss about? 120 million was a good price. But now the player is not playing. They're not getting the exact results they wanted to get. They're maybe considering that maybe we should just sell him and collect the money. It's not doesn't make any sense to have him there and we are not collecting any money. So I think they've concluded that. So Liverpool is a bit destabilized because they really want to get Isak. But they also have to do their job right now. And their job that they have to do, first of all, is Arsenal. Because remember, this weekend, it wasn't easy for them against Newcastle. Sorry, this beginning of this week. It wasn't easy for them against Newcastle. In fact, it took a 16-year-old random boy and a red card to get Liverpool all 3 points in a match that they would have thought that they would win, considering the fact that Newcastle was struggling with injuries. So they face an Arsenal side that can play haram football. And I tell people all the time, the thing about Mikel Arteta is that he can be frustrating, but sometimes he can set up his team in such a way that it will frustrate the opponent. So when you think of the Arsenal squad, even if they've been vulnerable defensively, you still have to say that they're title contenders because they can score and they can defensively they can set up in such a way that they can frustrate you. So this weekend, is going to be interesting to see on Sunday what Arsenal does. I think they may give Liverpool the ball and play on the counter. But I just want to see what they do because remember, they may be without Odegaard, they may be without Saka. Eberechi may start finally. So all those things is what makes the regular results be thrown out of the window. But let's see how it happens. Liverpool, Arsenal always serves up a great fixture. So I expect
I'm
a great
team
fixture on Sunday.
Arsenal
You're seeing
for this
Arsenal win.
weekend. For this weekend, I'm team Arsenal.
Ah, She'll not
Yes.
come and jinx them.
Okay. All right, let's quickly take some messages while we call it a day. LKR day rock, but okay, it's about Ayo saying Ayo chose the best time to go on leave. We shan't forget. We shan't forget.
No, he'll be back. No, he'll be back in time for Burnley. Don't worry.
For the dragon, don't worry. Hold it, king. It's carry everything. And Emeka says Liverpool fans have been bragging about their striker Ekitike. They should be coming down. By the time Gabriel and Saliba are through with him this weekend, he will change his name to Ekaite. Why? Ayanfe Dada says tennis as a sport is too gentlemanly. I don't know why they do not allow outbursts of passion and a little bit of crazy that would make the sports more exciting. Shane, you look very lovely this morning. Ooh, thank you very much. And James says, what about Javi Simon? Ogundipe Oluwaseun. Really? That's my name. Arsenal fan, don't overpush your luck. Learn to be calm because Liverpool is doing the champions mentality before they get their back line right. And Bankole Ajayi says, Ruben Amorim will be the first coach to lose his job. Rafiu Sirajuddin says, do you think at this point Liverpool will go for Isak this summer again? Ekitike is massively delivered and has quickly blended into the slot system of play. It's better Isak apologizes now. And quickly on WhatsApp, AY says, being the bigger person in sports is really hard, especially when there is already a very clear provocation. On the issue of Manchester United's current situation, I'm voting in favor of Amorim getting sacked before the end of September. Tega, you have my vote. Stan says, and Tega, don't talk Ambo. How long will Amorim last? Baba no go last reach next 3 months. Man, you don't cast last. Tayo says, with the chances the Grimsby goalie, who's a Man United fan, gave them, Man United still found a way to fumble the post. I thought the days of ETH were gone, but Amorim said, hold up, wait a minute and watch this. UEFA schedule out, and I see Chelsea with their regular customers in Bayern and Barcelona. Trent with the Spanish is going Arsenal versus Atletico Madrid. It's going to be premium haram ball, and Ayers, Man United is on vacation. Okay, we cannot take more messages.
We can't take more. We thank you so much for sending your messages via WhatsApp and streaming via YouTube. Monday is when Ayo will be back, so please prepare all your banter for him. Make it jollof, please, while you're at it, all right? On that note, thank you so much for listening to Smooth 98.1 FM and listening to The Locker Room. Till we come your way again on Monday, pray that your team is not fodder for banter. Have a great weekend.
Exactly. Smooth Breakfast continues right here on Smooth 98.1. My name is Oluwaseun Olusegun. Thank you. Have yourself a swell weekend. Bye.
Will be